Hello and welcome back, guys. We are here for round 4. The list that you see on screen here, we're playing some Karns. We're currently 2-1, so we're hoping to plod along here and get this 3-1 start. But regardless of the result, you will see this as the point of my content is to inform and to entertain. And you do not necessarily have to be picking up the wins to gain information or to gain enjoyment out of what you see on the screen. So if you do support my videos, then go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff that I hate to have to tell you to do, but it is the way of things. And yeah, I have nothing else to say. Let's just jump straight into the match. While we are waiting for our pairing here, I do want to remind you that I have a little bit of an issue with my current audio setup, so there will be some background noise that comes through, and that's pretty unavoidable. So hopefully you can live with that, because I'm doing my best to live with it, and yeah, let's see how this match goes. On the play, love it. We have a bounce land, we have an amulet. I already love the way this looks. We got a couple lands here, Turn Timber Symbiosis being a green mana source. We can pack for a Dryad or an Azusa if we so desire. I think we definitely keep this. Our opponent says good luck. I'm going to say good luck to you too in the chat. And yeah, let's go ahead and give this one a shot. I think we're probably taking the 3 damage to get Turn Timber and then Amulet into play on turn 1 here, so we can cast a 3-drop on turn 2 if we do draw it. Not really clear at this point whether we're going to want to pack for a 3-drop to play on turn 2. It's a pretty unlikely scenario in general, but our opponent has mulliganed down to 4 here, so they have an unfortunate game plan on their side of the table, or lack thereof. I mean, we're still going to get this amulet out on 1. They might, at this point, just be playing for the information of what we're playing, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them scoop here. But, you know. They could be playing something like Mono Green Tron, which usually mulligans quite a bit. Or they can just play turn 1 basic island go. That's not confusing at all. Totally not at all confusing. So if we were to pack for a Azusa, we could pick up the Turn Timber, leaving a Growth Chamber in play, and then play Forest Valakut and be able to pay for our pact. And still be able to cast Titan the turn after, if our opponent doesn't have Remand. I suppose if they have Cleansing Wildfire in their main board, then we could lose. I'm not really inclined to do anything super reckless. The one thing that I am thinking about, though, is we want to get underneath 2-mana Counter Magic. That said, I don't know if sneaking an Azusa underneath 2-mana Counter Magic is particularly useful. So, like, let's say that we go for that line and have an Azusa in play, we pay for our pact, and go for the Titan the turn after. We're not playing around Mana Leak, for example. Remand would be fine, because we just do it all again, but Mana Leak would be a problem. Even Logic Knot would be bad for us. The other thing, though, is that we may not resolve a 3-drop at all if we don't go for the pact. I think I'm going to go for the pact, actually. It's kind of a greedy play, but, you know, we'll live with it. If we do get blown out by just turn 2... Oh, Opt, okay. Interesting. If we do get blown out by a turn 2 Cleansing Wildfire, this will look really silly. And our opponent, if they're playing a blue-red deck with Opts, it seems like that might be likely. This could be really silly, but I'm going to play into it. Alright, Azusa is the card that we would like here. We'll play Forest and Valakut. And yeah, let's hope our opponent doesn't have Cleansing Wildfire. And from here, our setup looks pretty good. So we can even just cast Turn Timber Symbiosis before we cast our Titan to play around Counter Magic. So suppose our opponent could also have something like Ghost Quarter, but I'm not really expecting to see Ghost Quarters in today's meta. Okay, no Cleansing Wildfire. Looks pretty good. Path, that's fine. That's actually probably actively good for us, I think. Very unusual for a blue-white control opponent to mulligan down to 4 cards. That's got to be some unique kind of bad luck over there. Maybe we'll ask in the sideboard game what happened in game 1 here. Okay. How about another Amulet of Vigor? Well, let's just play that one out and pass it back, I suppose. Yeah, not much point in doing anything else, so don't want to show our opponent that we have access to this second Growth Chamber. They might just play a 3 fairy here in the hopes that we don't have Titan. Or they might just pass as well. That's cool too. Ghost Quarter. So we could play Ghost Quarter and slam Titan. Turn Timber is going to get hit by things like Force of Negation pretty badly. I suppose if we play Ghost Quarter and slam Titan, then we're not playing around Mana Leak. So let's go for the Titan off this Growth Chamber here. And I'm going to 5 to make sure we don't have any yield set to our amulets. Also, it's come to my attention that a recent Magic Online update claims to have fixed some things that could have been affected unintentionally by some sort of update, especially involving auto-yielding and, like, auto-yesing. So I'm hoping that our Valakut triggers are auto-yesable now. We shall see. Our opponent is YOLOing a Vendilion click here. Alright, we have a Dryad. Well, I guess we'll get to find out if our Valakut triggers are auto-yesable now. Dryad was a nice addition to our crew, since we already have the requisite lands in play for this, pretty much. So we'll pick up the Growth Chamber here, obviously. Playing the Dryad is free, and I do think this is the best turn to just go ahead and slam this Turn Timber, so let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so we can't just play Ghost Quarter and cast it, right? It's 5, 6, 7, yeah, so let's keep our bounce land in hand here, get a mana ahead. Come on. Alright, let's hit a Titan. Just easy peasy this. Dryad, okay. Well, we get a Valakut trigger here. Alright, the time has come. Is Valakut auto-yesable again? Let's find out here together. All in good time, all in good time. Aha! Yes, we can finally auto-yes again. Nice. Nice. Okay. That's great news. We'll pick up the tapped Growth Chamber. I mean, we gotta threaten our opponent with the additional 2 mana up, you know. They know our entire hand and our entire board state, so it's not like it's representing anything, but I mean, it feels so much nicer to have an untapped Growth Chamber in play, you know? Mystic Sanctuary, okay. I suppose a Supreme Verdict would have been pretty bad for us here, actually. Getting back Opt. I wonder if they put it on top or not. Looks like they do. Snapcaster Mage. Path, okay. That is preventing us from 1 additional Valakut trigger here, although it actually is giving us an additional Valakut trigger, interestingly enough. Alright, yes. Boom. Basic land for days, and let's just kill the Snapcaster. In case our opponent answers this Valakut, we'd rather our opponent not be able to clock us significantly, because if they just top deck another Path to Exile or something, then the extra 3 damage to their face means nothing, so we're trading 1 point of damage for a strategic advantage. And that's all I can say about it. This Vesuva was a ridiculous draw here. Let's point these Valakut triggers upstairs. I'm almost tempted to auto-yield to Amulet at this point, but that's probably not the best play. Oh, this one needs to be auto-yesed. Alright, well, let's just go ahead and get our additional points of damage here anyways. Alright, they scooped it up. A little bit of an unfortunate game for them, not gonna lie. But we do know what our opponent is playing now. I honestly think that with their hand, they probably should have just let us play turn 1 Amulet and then scooped. And they would have had the advantage of sideboarding properly, since they know what we're doing. I mean, especially with a play like turn 1, like Bolt in, Turn Timber, play Amulet, like, you know exactly what your opponent's playing. I mean, I guess they wouldn't have known about Karn, but they still don't know about Karn. And we would have had to probably just submit the same 60, maybe bring in Beast Withins just in case or something, I don't know. But, like, we would have definitely had to make some concessions there. Although we'd be up a game, but still, not giving us that information could have been very pivotal. Speaking of Beast Within, we do want this to deal with Ashiok and other Planeswalkers. I doubt that any of these other cards are particularly useful cards. We can leave Pithing Needle in the sideboard to grab with a Karn, and I think that's probably fine. It's probably better in the sideboard than in the main board, especially since we can't, like, search for it or anything. Grazer is the easiest first cut. And I do feel like we could potentially trim a Summoner's Pact for something, but like I said, there's not really anything in the sideboard that I want to bring in. I guess we did see Vanillion Clicks, so we probably want at least a pair of Dismembers, so let's trim one Pact. And Engineered Explosives, perhaps? I'm not a big fan of explosives here. This way we have a couple of answers to our opponent's Vanillion Clicks. They probably only play 2 or 3 clicks anyways, so this should be fine. Although, to see mainboard Vanillion Clicks, maybe that suggests some additional mid-rangey threats like Restoration Angel. It is definitely a possibility. And this hand has the potential to be great. We have Karn as an intermediary threat here. We have a way to deal with a Vanillion Click or something, although that may not be necessary early. Though we don't have a bounce land. That said, I mean, I'm willing to keep a little bit of a slower paced hand here and just hope that we are going to top deck lands. I think it's reasonable, and this has all the things that we really want it to have, so including several threats, so. Alright, I do think we should fetch Shock and get this Amulet into play right now. If they do Force Negation it, that is debatably good for us, but we still need to top deck some lands here. And obviously we need a Shock here to set up our Tolaria West, so. But yeah, we want to force them to Force Negation or let us live with our Amulet, so no Force Negation from our opponent. Alright, now we just need to top deck a couple lands, and hopefully we'll be in this game. I don't know, this game is shaping up to be very weird even if we do top deck lands, which we have so far been unable to do. Our opponent doesn't know that, but it is the case. And let's just pass it back, not yielding, signaling to our opponent that we might be holding up something like Negate. If we top deck a bounce land this upcoming turn, then we can actually just cast Karn. Ooh, raw dogging a Snapcaster Mage, huh? Them's some aggressive plays. Most certainly. I think I'm willing to take a hit from it before dismembering it. I think the Vanillion Click... Whoa, no attacks? That had to be a misclick. Alright, bounce land. Second Amulet. Sure. Counter it, see if I care. Mana leak this Amulet. Do it. There we go. Cool. No thanks. Didn't need the second one in the first place. I guess it would have let us cast Karn off of a Valakut or something if we top decked it, like any ETB tapped land, but them small apples, we're not worried about this second Amulet. Our opponent is just, you know, committing their resources to our resources, and that's good for us, as long as we can top deck some lands, so. Which I've said for like 2 or 3 turns now, so we'll see how effective that is. Do we go ahead and fire off the Dismember? I don't see a reason not to. Especially since Teferi is going to make timing this Dismember when we really want to awkward, it's probably good to just go ahead and get the Dismember out of our hand. Free up the battlefield just a little bit. I would love to top deck a untapped source to just slam Azusa here. I'll take an Explorer as well. We need to focus on hitting more land drops here rather than anything else. There's a land drop. Now we can recommit this Amulet. And we'll pass it back. Now we have Karn this upcoming turn if we draw a land and decide to cast Karn, or we can just slam Azusa, so. Opponent using their Time Raveler. Okay, there's a Bog. That's interesting. Our opponent doesn't have Cryptic up. They could have Force Negation or Mana Leak or something, but I kind of feel like this is the best turn to slam Karn. I think that's what I'm going to go for. We haven't given our opponent a chance to use... Actually, no, we've given our opponents plenty of chances to use Force of Negation, and they haven't, so unless they drew it, I mean, or unless they were just wisely saving it. Alright, Karn. This plays around Aether Gust as well. Mana Leak. Okay, okay. Pass it back. Would have rather not get that Mana Leaked, but that's okay. At the very least, it serves an additional threat. As long as we can continue to hit these land drops, which our deck has, like, half of it as lands at this point, then we'll just be bridging towards Titan slowly, and we have our next couple turns planned out. So now we can commit a Titan using our Crumbling Vestige. But our opponent now has Cryptic Command available, and I just don't see a reason to give our opponent a nice, juicy Cryptic Command target, so let's just commit this lowly Azusa and hold on to our Crumbling Vestige to commit Titan this upcoming turn. Click. That's fine. We have 3 Primeval Titans in hand, so not worried about that. I mean, it can't clock us, which is why we were bringing in Dismembers in the first place, but I wonder if they cycle anything. I suppose they have to. It's kind of weird, though. Yeah, there we go. Well, now we can play Dryad. Is that better than just casting a Titan this upcoming turn? We can still top deck another land. If we don't, we could pack for something, perhaps. I don't know, I kind of like committing Dryad here as a way to pressure this Teferi, realistically. And then we can attack everything into Teferi and trade the Azusa, which we don't really care about. More bounce lands as top decks would be good with a Dryad in play as well. Even a Valakut would be a good top deck at that point. Yeah, let's get this Dryad in underneath Counter Magic, I think. They're pathing their own click. I'm very glad to see that. I'm extremely glad to see that. I love to see that. I was actually worried that this click would kill us before we get to do our thing, but I mean, now our opponent is firing off Path to Exiles needlessly, and we have threats in play, and things are good, so. I forgot to ask our opponent about what happened game 1, if they just got a bunch of 0 land hands in a row or something, but maybe they're trying to cast a big Planeswalker here? I don't know. I'm just confused at this point. I suppose they could, like, Supreme Verdict and hold up a Mana Leak or Remand or something here, or bouncing our Dryad is fine with me. They cashed in this Teferi finally. Not that it makes a huge difference, but okay, there's the big Planeswalker that we were talking about. Perhaps they didn't have a land in hand and wanted to ensure that they could cast 5 mana Teferi this turn, because they felt like that was their best route to victory. It very well may be, not gonna lie. Alright, we need a land to cast Titan this turn. We're probably casting it into Aether Gust, but if they don't have the Gust, we're underneath Cryptic Command, and that is invaluable. This is a very crucial window. I'd also take a Valakut here. Growth Femur, there we go. That's exactly what we wanted. Alright. Let's start going ham here. We can play around Mana Leak. Let's go ahead and yield to these Amulet triggers. We can play around Mana Leak by floating a bunch of extra mana with our land drops with Azusa, so I think that we should probably keep that in mind. We are very surprisingly close to being able to double cast Titan here. Oh, our opponent scooped it up just like that, I guess. Sure. Well, what am I supposed to say? That felt like such a non-match. I mean, I suppose we could have even floated enough mana, picked up Tolari West, Transmuter for Cavern, and then Cavern through the Primeval Titan. I mean, really our main enemy here is Aether Gust, so that doesn't really accomplish a whole lot. If we were playing the Pact of Negation in the main or side, then it definitely could have been a consideration to pick up and transmute Tolari West for Pact of Negation so we could slam Primeval Titan with Pact back up in case our opponent had Aether Gust, and again, that's really the only thing we lose to here. I suppose they could have another Path to Exile, but now we probably just get Valakuts off of our Titan trigger, so it's whatever. Our opponent was definitely facing the rough that match. Today was not their day after a mulligan to 4 and then whatever happened in that last game. I wish our opponent would at least have revealed their hand to us. But anyways, I'm not going to complain. And we did see Karn doing his job, going straight from our hand to the graveyard in exchange for one of our opponent's cards. Believe it or not, that fail case for Karn is perfectly acceptable. That's exactly what we want Karn to be doing in the control matchups, is forcing our opponent to convert their resources on our terms and not on their terms, because then we can pave the way for clear Titan windows while applying consistent pressure. That's definitely one of the benefits of Karn. So anyways, I've spoken way too long for a match that had way too little, and I'm going to go ahead and call it there. hopefully you'll follow me into match 5, where maybe, just maybe, we can eke out this 4-1. That would be amazing. Not promising anything, definitely crossing our fingers, but anyways, I will see you guys then. This is Red Face Menace, signing off.